Tesla has a big Gigafactory problem that will impact them reaching their goal of building 20 million vehicles by the year 2030. In this video, I'm going to show you what the big problem is and the numbers behind it. But I'm also going to offer 3 solutions that could not only help Tesla reach its goal, but also set it up for success for a long time to come. So let's go. So the recent 2023 Tesla Investor Day included an announcement of a new Gigafactory in Monterrey, Mexico. While this is fantastic, I'm about to show you the numbers and the impact that the current Gigafactory strategy will have on Tesla's ability to reach its goal. You'll see that the current approach of a 1 Gigafactory announcement at a time is just not going to cut it. And before you label me as a hater or a bear, I'm actually a bull. I'm a Tesla stock owner and a fan of the company and Elon. I just want to see them succeed wildly, and that is why I've made this video. By the way, my name is C. I'm a senior executive that shares C-level insights on hot business topics and crushing it in your career. The funny disguise is just to protect my family and my own career outside of YouTube. I have a ton of supply chain and manufacturing know-how that I'm about to share with you in this video. So subscribe and let's get started. This is a capacity model showing the goal of reaching 20 million vehicles of production by the year 2030. Now, the time that we have between now and then is about 7 years and 3/4. And then now let's take a quick look at the capacity of each of the current plants. So there are 4 current Gigafactories building vehicles. Let's start with Shanghai. Shanghai has a capacity right now of 750,000 vehicles per year. Fremont at 650,000, and Austin and Berlin are currently listed at 250,000 vehicle capacity per year. By the way, all these capacity numbers are provided by Inside EVs. So the current total capacity is 1.9 million vehicles per year. And as you can see, in order to reach the 20 million vehicle mark in 2030, we have to still build capacity for a little over 18 million vehicles per year. That's over 90% of the capacity goal still needs to be built. The capacity to build per year now is over 2 million vehicle capacity per year. We need to build about 13% of that per year, every single year up until 2030. Now, moving down the spreadsheet, let's assume that all the future Gigafactories will produce at a level that Shanghai is at, which is the largest, highest capacity site right now. That's 750,000 vehicles per year. But I'm also throwing in a model at 1 million vehicles per year. The number of Gigafactories that would be needed at either 750,000 or even 1 million vehicle output is between 18 and 24 additional Gigafactories. Now, the folks that actually watched the Investor Day are probably shouting right now, saying, whoa, see, the future Gigafactories Elon shared are going to take 40% less space. Great point. So to look at the future Gigafactories, all taking 40% less space, you can see here that between 11 and 15 Gigafactories would be needed in order to reach the goal. So please remember the 11 to 15 Gigafactories. And now we're going to move over to a timeline to figure out, is this possible and how can it be done? Okay, moving over to the timeline. This is a Gantt chart that takes a look at the time to build capacity between 2023 and 2030. The blue bar that you see here is the actual time it took to build Austin. Now, obviously Tesla will get better and faster at building future sites, but as you can see here, it took 21 months and 6 days from groundbreaking and to the point that initial deliveries were made. This is not fully scaled, fully ramped up, okay? This is initial deliveries. Now again, Tesla will likely get more effective and more efficient with its time, and that they may get to a more ramped up point within a 21-month time frame. So when 1 Gigafactory finished, the next one will begin. Well, guess what? You quickly get to the 4th Gigafactory, you're in 2030, and you're nowhere close to where we need to be with 11 to 15 Gigafactories. So obviously, the in-series approach does not work. So what else could we do? we could take a parallel approach. So in parallel approach, if we build 2 gigafactories simultaneously, and remember, building these out simultaneously will take pairs of teams at Tesla. And usually when it comes to building out new production, you have receiving teams and you have sending teams. So you're going to need to have teams in Austin or possibly Shanghai ready to send the technology, train the folks, and send them to the receiving location. And let's target Monterrey, Mexico for now. So the first additional gigafactory, as you can see here, is listed in Monterrey, Mexico. However, a second additional gigafactory that is yet to be announced, I don't think it will be announced, needs to begin approximately the same time. And that's a pair of production facilities. At the end of that pair, we start the next pair, and then the next pair, and the next pair. You can see that by 2030, we are at 8 gigafactories. We're still not quite at the target that we need to be at of 11 to 15 gigafactories, okay? So that's a parallel approach. What else could we do? We could take a parallel times 3 approach. So you have 3 gigafactories that would have to be built simultaneously, and when one set of 3 finishes, the next set of 3 starts, on and on again. And as you can see, by the year 2030, Tesla would be at 12 gigafactories, assuming right now that these are all outputting about 1 million vehicles apiece. This is quite favorable. Again, this timeline, since we're modeling it after the Austin timeline, this did not, in the case of Austin, mean that there was a full ramp up of these sites. But again, I'm going to assume in Tesla's favor that they're going to get better and faster at this, and that they may be at a more moderate, perhaps not fully ramped up point in this 21-month time frame. So you can see that they do finally hit their target if they take a parallel in triplicate approach. This obviously takes a lot of resources within Tesla and outside of Tesla. Now, what could they do? They've only announced Monterrey, just a single site. So let me propose a solution on how they can actually get to their target. Okay, first solution to solving Tesla's challenge. What you see here is a satellite image of Monterrey, Mexico. Now, the reason why I'm showing this, Monterrey, Mexico, is actually a very good choice for Tesla. There's a number of reasons for this. There are other automotive suppliers in the area. There's lots of great labor. There's also great universities that will be obviously graduating a lot of great engineering students in the future. But there's only 2 reasons that companies really outsource and build factories outside the US, and that is for labor advantage and tax advantage. More favorable labor rates and more favorable tax rates. So Mexico, being right next door to the United States, has very favorable labor rates. And usually when you're committing a certain amount of capacity and jobs into the region, you can usually strike a deal for favorable tax rates. And I'd be very willing to bet that Tesla did just that. But let me propose something that Tesla should really strongly consider. I would like to suggest a different approach, that Tesla actually purchase a plot of land. I'm just using this location for illustrative purposes. It's actually farmland. It may be available, I don't know. But just for illustrative purposes, buy a lot of land that they could eventually build 10 gigafactory campus, okay? So with the 10 gigafactory campus, that would set them up for quite a long time, but I would not stop there. What I would also suggest doing is to get into an agreement for a first right of refusal to purchase the plot of land immediately next door. This is often done when campuses are built. You don't have to buy the land, but you can get a first right of refusal that does not require capital to be tied up, but you have the right to purchase that land at a future time, whatever's convenient and appropriate for Tesla. Why would you want to have a first right of refusal? Well, because you want to eventually, potentially buy the land and build an identical 10 gigafactory campus. This entire campus is not just a campus, it's really a mega campus. And so this would offer a 20 gigafactory option for Tesla and would set it up for success for more than a decade from now. However, some of you might rightfully bring up some risks here of putting too many eggs in one location basket. And I don't disagree with that, although it still might be the right strategic thing to do. But putting 20 gigafactories, you're really going to be asking a lot of the local resources, construction resources, labor, in order to actually make this happen. So here's an alternative solution. Solution 2. You could build a 10 gigafactory campus in Monterey and another 10 gigafactory campus, perhaps in Austin, Texas. It's about a 6.5-hour ride by car, and by doing this, you start to mitigate and minimize your risks should there be a significant weather event or something in one area versus the other. But they're still not that far away from each other. So if solution 2, which again is another 20 gigafactory solution that would set them up for a decade, maybe a decade and a half, here's solution 3. Solution 3, you get a little bit more global, right? And you could have a 10 gigafactory campus in Shanghai, another one in Mexico, and another one in Europe. And I would suggest not going to Germany, but to go to the Netherlands instead. It's typically better from a labor perspective, and they're more company friendly and regulatory supportive than, say, Germany. So my suggestion would be to go to the Netherlands. But this scenario would provide 30 gigafactories. Now, why am I suggesting these 10 or so gigafactory campuses? Well, think about this. If Tesla were to make the decision, we are going to have 10 gigafactories, let's say, in Monterrey, Mexico, they're out of the gigafactory discussion for quite a long time. They don't need to worry about it. That whole process is done for over a decade. They will be totally set. So coming up with 1 or 2, perhaps even 3 campus future facilities would allow them to build this out over time. So in conclusion, as you can see, Tesla really needs to step on the gas, accelerator, when it comes to the Gigafactory strategy. Their selection of Mexico, and Monterrey in particular, is a great one for many strategic reasons, including labor cost advantage, likely a tax advantage, proximity to other automotive suppliers, and also local universities. And of course, there's plentiful manufacturing labor in the area as well. But as you can see, Tesla's 1 gigafactory at a time strategy is just not going to cut it. Tesla needs to ramp up and target at least 3 gigafactory projects at a time, over and over again, and they need to get started now if they wish to reach their goal to produce 20 million vehicles by the year 2030. This is going to mean 3 sets of project teams running at the same time, not just one. The level of complexity for managing this many massive construction and manufacturing ramp-up projects will really be a significant challenge for the company. Tesla also needs to get the construction and production ramp-up times to be a little shorter, from 21 months down to perhaps 18 months, in order to reach at least moderate production levels. This would help them to actually reach their goals perhaps a little bit sooner with maybe a little bit of buffer in due course. So the bottom line, do I think Tesla can do this? It is possible, but Tesla is going to need to take this incredibly seriously and get started right now. They really need, as I've shown, need to take a 3 gigafactory at a time approach over and over again. And a lot of things need to go right in order to hit their target. So while Elon is contemplating the mega campus, check out how Elon might be affecting jobs outside of Tesla and Twitter, maybe even your job. I've got that video right here, so I'll see you there in just a second.